Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl.
This video, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on using color theory, and this is the worksheet that we're going to be using. The link is in the description. It is free, and I use Crayola colored pencils, so you can use whatever you want, but of course Crayola is the most affordable if you need to go get some. So color theory is basically how colors work together, and it can add dimension and depth to your pages versus just coloring with one color. So grab your worksheet and your color pencils, and welcome to Evolving Color. My name is Tansy. Let's get into this. The fruits on the left will have a warm undertone, and the fruits on the right will have a cool undertone. We're starting with the strawberry. For the base color of the warm strawberry, we're using analogous colors. So these are colors that sit next to each other. So we're going to be using mahogany, orange, and yellow. And then for the overlay colors, we're going to use red and red orange. If you don't have the colors that I'm using, just find the ones that are closest. So I'm going to start with mahogany, and this is going to be the darkest part or the shadow part of the strawberry. And when you're doing base colors, you want to color lightly so that you can layer over top with the overlay colors. After I'm done with mahogany, I color with orange and then yellow. The yellow is what's closest to what I think the sun will be shining from. Then I'm going to go in with my red and color the darkest shadow, and this is the overlay color. This is the color that we want our strawberry to be. And then with the rest of the strawberry, I use red orange. When I do the first layer of the overlay colors, I don't blend them yet. So once I go in with the second layer is when I start to blend the colors. So now I'm going in a second time, and this is when you'll see me start to blend red, orange with red. So once I finish with my red, I'm going to go in with red, orange, and I'm going to color over top of the red area as well with that color. So the spot that I'm leaving yellow is the highlight part of the strawberry. Colored about 3 to 4 layers just so that the colors are blended pretty well. Crayola are hard wax colored pencils, and it's a little difficult to blend versus if I was just using soft wax. So I blended as well as I could with these color pencils. So you blend as much as you like according to what you're using or the look that you're going for. For the cool strawberry, I'm using monochromatic colors for the base layer. So these are different shades of one color or different variations of one color. So I'm using blue, sky blue, and light blue. And then for the overlay colors, I'm using mahogany, red, and red orange. Just like you did with the warm strawberry, you're going to go in with the darkest blue, and that's going to be, and you're going to use that to color the darkest area of the strawberry, which would be where the shade would be. And then you go in with your sky blue and your light blue. And like I said earlier, with the first layer, you want to make sure you color lightly. And I made a mistake on the strawberry. As you can see, I colored with the blue a little darker, or maybe I went over it again. And so while I was coloring, you can still see the blue. I feel like I should have colored a little lighter with the blue, so that wouldn't show up as much when I colored with the red. So you want to color just like you did with your warm. You're going to go in with mahogany and color the darkest area of the strawberry, and then red, which would be more of the middle, and then red orange, which would be closest to the sun. And I left a small spot of the light blue, just like I did with my warm strawberries, to show a highlight. So once you finish your first layer of your overlay colors, then with the second layer is when you're going to blend all of the colors. So I blend the red with the mahogany, and then I blend red orange with red and mahogany. As you figure out your style of coloring, you can layer how you want or what you feel is the best way to do so. So here I'm going back in with the blue to make the shadow a little darker underneath the leaves. And then I went back in with the reds. I did this because I felt like it wasn't dark enough. For the leaves and stems, we're going to use complementary colors as the base colors, and that is violet and yellow. This is what we're going to use for the oranges as well. And the overlay colors are green and yellow green. I use the violet to trace the outer parts of the leaves and to color where the shadows will be on the stem. And in the middle, I color in with the yellow. I just like that look of a dark outer leaf and then it being lighter in the middle. So we're going to use the green to color over violet and then yellow green to color over yellow. And so after the first layer, then I go in and blend in yellow green with green. I find with smaller areas, it's easier to blend. So I didn't do as many layers just because I didn't have to. So I did about 2 or 3 layers. For the warm orange, we're using analogous colors again. So we're using mahogany, red, and yellow for the base colors. And then for the overlay colors, we're using red, orange, orange, and yellow orange. I'm using mahogany to color the shadows or the darkest part of the orange, which to me would be in between. So the oranges, in between the two oranges, by the leaves, underneath the stem, and then closest to the left would be the darkest. When you're using color theory, I think it's best to find a picture as a reference. I was just kind of going off in my head of what I think the shadows and light areas would be. Now I'm going in with red, and then the closest part to the sun, I'm going to go in with yellow. So now I'm going in with my overlay colors. I'm starting with red, orange, and coloring the darkest part of the orange. And then I'm going to go in with orange as my next color, and then yellow, orange as the final color, just like we did with the strawberries. Once we do the second layer is when we're going to blend the colors. So we're going to blend orange into red orange, and then yellow orange into orange and red orange. And again, about 3 or 4 layers for this orange. For the cool orange, we're using green and yellow green. And then for the overlay colors, we're using orange and yellow orange. And if you want, you can add another green and another orange. I just chose these two colors. So I'm using green as my shadow color, and I'm coloring underneath the leaf and then on the right side of the orange. So I didn't color where the two oranges meet. I didn't color that dark green because to me, since it's over top, it's like in front of the warm orange, so it wouldn't be a shadow right there. And then the rest of the orange I color with yellow green. All right, so we're going in with our orange to color over the green area, and then we're going to go in with yellow orange to color over the yellow green area. And after your first layer of your overlay is when you'll go in and blend in your two colors. So I'm going to blend in yellow orange with orange. And again, we're going to do about 3 or 4 layers, or you can do as many layers as you feel is needed for your orange to be blended properly. we're going to color the stem of the warm orange. And so for our base colors, we're using monochromatic colors. We're using golden yellow and yellow. We have 2 shades of yellow. And then overlay colors are going to be brown and light brown, which is monochromatic as well. I color the base of the stem with golden yellow, and also the part of the stem that's closest to the leaves, the lightest part would be with yellow. And so with the overlay, we're going to color the golden yellow areas with brown, and then the lightest part with light brown. And so since this is a small area, you won't have to layer as much, maybe like twice. The stem of the cool orange, we're going to use the base colors of green and yellow green. And then overlay, we're going to use the same colors, brown and light brown. So we're going to color the base with green, and this part of the stem that's closest to the leaves, green, and then the rest of the area is going to be yellow-green. We're coloring over the green with brown, and then yellow-green with light brown. So again, we're using the same colors that we use for the leaves of the strawberry on the leaves of the oranges. I colored these leaves the same as the strawberries. So this is the end of the tutorial. I hope that it was helpful. You can leave a comment. I'm always open for constructive criticism. And I will see you all in the next video.